Well, I got just a few minutes here. Before somebody comes over here, I put some oak planking, all the oak planking on here, remember? They're coming to pick it up. I posted that on Facebook Marketplace and I got it sold. Well, while I'm waiting, I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to go ahead and paint the wall, from the wall down to the top edge of the baseboard. I've already painted the baseboards, and I like to do that first, and that way I don't really have to cut it in. I can run the paint right up here so I can get this top edge nice and clean, and then it'll be easier to paint the wall from here down. As you remember, I've already painted the walls, and I came down about that close with the paint roller all the way around. Okay, so now I've got to cut it all in, and I end up using this paintbrush right here. See there how it's cut at an angle? Just a little one. See there? And that's all I'm going to use, and you know, I'm going to put my paint in just a little paint tray like that. I'm going to slide it along. I'll take a piece of cardboard, take that piece of cardboard, and I'm going to put that metal tray on there so I don't scratch the pre-finished nice floor that we just installed. But I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna just do a slight dry run for you, so to speak. Let's get in this. Let's get in a corner. How are you gonna paint? How are you gonna paint a corner like that? You know, and there's a real knack to trying to get paint. How on earth would you paint that without getting anything on this edge and being able to see this and stuff? You've got to take this and kind of put it up. What I do on an inside corner is I'll get the corner first. So I'm going to put this right up against the wall, the short side. Okay? And I'm going to bend down, and I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to bend this down here. And then see, I can stretch the paintbrush. So I'm going to have it up here. I'm not going to have a whole lot of paint on the paintbrush when I do this, but I'm going to go right down in there like that and wiggle it a little bit and pull up, you know, just a hair, and get right there on that corner, just the corner. Then I'm going to come back up at a 45 this way to get this over here. I'm going to go like this, just same way, and I'm going to push down. And if you can see, the paintbrush is pushing down in two different directions, isn't it? And it's going to be right like that, and then I'm going to pull that along there, like that. Then from here down, I'm going to get it differently. I'm going to put the paintbrush like this, and just kind of fold it down. And then I'm going to pull it right along there. Granted, once I get the paint on the paintbrush, I don't want to get too much paint at the bottom edge. I'm going to get some paint on here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to clean off that a little bit. Then I'm going to go down like that and get it, and then go back, and then I'm going to pick up some paint right here, and then I'm going to go back again. And sometimes when you have spray texture on your walls, you may go over this 2 or 3 times and think, my word, it's not covering everything. There's still little bits. And you might have to take your brush like that and then wiggle it as you go. Or you may have to then turn it around this way and go back that way, and you'll pick up the other ridge of your spray texture joints. Okay, it's kind of a knack to do this, and I like to try. Like for a wall like this, I would go from left to right. So I would finish that little corner, then I'd be down here, and then I'm down here on my hands and knees on my floor pad, and then I'm going to go right along there like that. Boom, 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 boom. Then I may have to go back that way. You get good at it if you practice. Then to do this over here, going this way, I'm off here. I've already done that, like that, and then at a 45, like that, and then clean that up, and now this way. Now how am I going to do that one? Well, I'm gonna then work over here on the left-hand side. Okay? I'm gonna work on the left-hand side. And then I have to position myself differently. And I'm gonna go at a 45-degree angle because I've already gotten this. I don't do this over here like this because it's hard for me to see that. I like to do it on the other side, but right here, I'm gonna be just like that. And then I'm gonna pull that a little bit, okay? I'm gonna push it down here and get it, look down there, get it exactly where I want and pull. And I'm just gonna do a little bit until I then can reach in there and get this flat. And then I'm gonna bend way down like this so I can see exactly where it is. I'm always on using my right hand on both sections, okay? And then as I get down further, I can put my hand here and do this way, okay? Like that. And once I get out of the corner, what I'll do is I like to start, I like to do from left to right, okay? So what I would do is I'd get in this corner right here. I would start right there. And then I would go this way as far as I could get. I gotta check my phone here for a minute. But see, I would get in here, I would do this and get that right there and pull that up right there to get this little bit. And I'd go at an angle and get that. And then I would come along here and I would go as far as I could over this way. About to there, okay? And then I'll turn around and do this last little bit with my right hand, you know, like that, and then come across. I like to work from left to right. I just have an easier knack to do it, and so that's how I'm going to do this baseboard. I'm going to do this whole thing like that, and if you want, you can put the craft paper down on the floor first. But I'm just gonna slide this little piece of cardboard along with my paint tray, dab and go, and I'll be fine with this one little paintbrush. I'm gonna do that today. It's gonna look really good when I get done, and I'll show you. I'll paint some after a while, and I'll show you how it's done. But I wanted to kind of give you a dry run to have you get an idea how you're going to use this. You don't have to be a professional painter in order to paint, okay? Start painting yourself and save that money. Let's just look at this little area a little bit. The worst thing you can do when you're trying to cut in a line, you're trying to cut this line in, is load your paintbrush up and have so much paint on there that as you're getting ready to put it on the wall, you're going to use all that paint right along that edge. It's never going to work. Never. That paint is going to run over the edge. You may say, "Oh, I'll just hold it 1/8 of an inch above the baseboard until that paint kind of runs off there." That's not going to work either. And then what's going to happen is you're going to create a line right there, and every time you go back to try to finish it, that line extends down here, and then pretty soon you hit that line of paint, and then it spooges up on top of the baseboard. You just can't do that. So when I'm not gonna get a whole lot of paint on here at any one go. I'm only gonna cut in probably from there to about here at any one time. But what I do is once I get the paint on here, okay, and I'll clean it up, and that's why I like to not use. That's why I don't like to use a bucket or anything like that. I like to just use a little paint tray because I can just set it in the paint tray, dab it a little bit like that. Okay. Now, as I have it on there, I'm going to come up here high, and I'm gonna wipe this paint off on the wall like that. I'm going to wipe it off the wall. Okay. Then the paint that I have here is my staging area. I use that paint, and I'm going to end up using most of that paint down here. Okay, I'm going to put it on here and kind of wipe that edge off up high so I don't hit the base. Then I'm gonna come down a little bit lower, and then I'm gonna kind of clean my brush off, and then I'm gonna come back in here like this, slide it down. See how I can put the paintbrush up here, and then just bend it, and it pooches down, and I can make a line just like that. And then I'm only gonna go so far. Then I'm gonna take this paint like this, where the staging area is, and I'm gonna load it up on my paintbrush, and I'm gonna do it again. Boom. Okay? And then if I have ridges on here, which I do, the spray texture, sometimes when the paint goes on there, it doesn't cover up all those ridges. You may think, oh, I just put more thicker paint on there, more paint. Well, you don't want too much paint down to this edge, because then it could start running on here, or you could make a line there. Now you're like, oh man, how do I get that off? Okay, I see what he's talking about now. And so I may go like this, you know, once or twice along here. And if I still see something, I'm gonna flip it around. And then I'm gonna do the same thing backwards. And I'm just gonna hit that, boom. And that's gonna take the paint that went over that bump, and it's gonna pull it back on the bump where it missed. You see what I mean? And it kind of takes a knack to do it. And so that's why I want you to watch these videos on me cutting this in, okay? Because it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky, but you can do it if you just spend a little bit of time on it, a little patience. And again, I like to go from left to right. I just have a better knack of doing it. But see, if you're going from right to left, if I did this wall from right to left, this is how I would do it. I would see, as I'm right, I have to look down low enough over the edge of this paintbrush so that I can see this edge. So I'm gonna be down, I'm gonna be like that. And then I've got to hold my hand way up here. It's kind of awkward. I could hold my hand here and do this, or I'm going to hold my hand here, and then I have to really bend down in there to see that. Do you see what I mean? It's very tricky in order to do it from right to left for me, with me being right-handed. It's just because I'm here like this, and I have to really get down and dirty so I can see it. This is usually how I'll do it. You know, put my hand out here, put my head down here, but I can't do that when I'm in a corner. If I'm in a corner, I may have to kind of do this business, you know, as I go. So that's why I like to go. That's why I like to go from right to left, because I'm right here, I'm dabbing in my paint tray, I've got my knee pad here, and I can just kind of be like this. Put it on, get down in there, and go for it. Take my paint right here, do it again. You can't just cut it in. You can't just cut this line in one time and think you're done. It's never gonna work. You've got to get more paint on there, and then swish it around there. See, I got some high spots over there, and then I'm going to have to fill that in, make sure I get that plenty of paint on there. And then when I get down in here and cut that in, I may end up having to cut that in twice that direction. Then I may have to go back this way to hit any bits that are missing. So, I mean, you're talking from this little section, I'm going to actually cut it right into the baseboard, probably 3 or 4 passes. Do you see what I mean? And I just push it up here, slide it down there. Don't just try to put this exactly where it goes. It's hard to do that, okay? I'm going to be up here, I'm going to push down, spread it, squeeze a little bit, and slide it. And see, that's the other thing. I've got eggshell paint on here. You slide that eggshell paint on, you might think, oh, it's not thick enough. Then you got to put a little bit more on and then go back this other way to clean it up. You see what I'm saying? So it takes a real knack at doing it. But if you're patient and you have a steady hand, you can do it. Okay? And that goes for around door frames, that goes for door frames, that goes for around windows. Same thing. You know, I'm just putting it up like that, bending it, and then I get right down where I need it. You know, when I do a corner up there, I do the same thing. I do this and squeeze it in there to do that inside corner, then come down here at a 45. Come down there at a 45, do that one up there at a 45 and go a little bit. And then I'm kind of upside down. I'm kind of upside down as I'm holding this on my ladder and stuff. And you'll get pretty good at it. And then when you get done, do the best you can. When you get done, you can stand back and you can kind of look. Now see, up in here, I didn't do too great. It was very difficult. Man, it's hard to see. Where are we? It's hard to see that up there. But I can see there's different spots. Excuse me. There's some different spots up there where I can go back there and do a better job. Some of it could be on the ceiling. Some of it could be on the wall. Okay? And I can clean that stuff up. But when you're working and you're up there high off of a ladder and you're trying to do the best you can and you've got a light on or you don't, you know, you're just up there. You're holding your head up at an angle and you're trying to hold this as best you can flat up against the ceiling. Your eyes start getting wiggy, you're squinting, you're getting tired, you're sore and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes your trim doesn't look very good. Now that wall, I'm going to cut this wall in again. Now that it's dry and I line back, I can see the different areas. So I can stand back, get up there on a ladder and clean up that line. Now this line over here, I did way better. I don't know what the deal is. This one came out nice and straight. And up here on the soffit, that actually turned out pretty good. There's a couple little spots where I see one over there and one about there. I can clean that up. And the other day, I had to paint with this little paintbrush right up along the scribe mold of the cabinets. Now I see I got just a little bit of paint up there. Hey, I could only do the best that I could up there and contorted different positions and stuff, and I'll be able to clean that off with a sharp putty knife. And in fact, I might want to do that first thing this morning with my sharp putty knife. And I've got a sharp one here. See how sharp that one is? This one here used to look like that. I use this one for all kinds of stuff. When it gets bad, don't just throw them away. You should have seen the other one I had. It went about that big, and I use that for all kinds of stuff. For scraping and stuff, it finally snapped off, and now I'm using that one. So I just kind of go on down the road. But try starting to do your painting. Hopefully you've been watching some of my painting videos, so you can go this whole video series on my channel to find the painting episodes, or you can go to my YouTube channel and go to my main channel page, go to playlists, and then scroll down to painting, and I've got all my videos that I've done painting with are there on the playlist. You can do it, and you can start saving. Don't start paying somebody else to do all your painting. From now on, you can do it yourself. Well, what time is it? It's time to make another video. Yes, it is time to make another video, but not of, what is that anyways? Oh, stainless steel sink is in there. We're going to be replacing this countertop. Before the guy can actually come out here and measure for the new counters, he's got to have the new sink so that they've got the template. This is going to be an undermount stainless steel sink. The sink that we have happens to be a cast iron sink, and it's surface mounted over the top. Most people nowadays, they don't They don't do that kind. They like to install them underneath the sink, but that's not what I'm going to be talking about and showing you today. I'm going to be showing you, it's all about getting this condo ready to be moved in, and one of the last things I have to do for paint-wise, before paint touch-up and all that, is I've got to paint from here down, and I've got to get it nice, tight, the wall color down next to the baseboard, okay, all the way along here. That's one thing, one of the main things I've got to do before I can start putting most of this paint stuff away. I am so sick of painting. I've been painting off and on for at least 2.5 weeks or more. I've been doing all kinds of stuff in this condo, but hey, if you want to watch how I cut in, I'm going to cut in and I'm going to use a special little paintbrush right here. It's got an angle on it and everything. Yeah, that's all I'm going to use for that. I used to use this one here, and this is a cut-in brush that has an angle on it. I used to use that, but I found this one works just as well, if not better. If you want to watch that, stick around. And speaking of the stainless steel sink, hey, you can order all kinds of stuff online through the Home Depot. Even if they don't have something at the store that you like, and you can pick something out. And you know, this had a cast iron sink in it from before, and I like cast iron. It doesn't scratch and stuff, and I've always, you know, the only pet peeve of mine about having a stainless steel sink is they scratch, and then you can't fix the scratches, and they're scratched forevermore. Well, the good thing with this, when we ordered it, it came, oh, where is it? Right here, rinse grids, set of 2. And I'm like, who would want to put those in the bottom of the sink? And I asked the lady that when I ordered this over at the Home Depot, and she says, oh, well, you just put that in the bottom, and that prevents your scratches. Then you can put your dishes in there. And I said, oh, okay, that makes sense, because that's generally where stainless steel sinks scratch anyways. And I couldn't find a cast iron white porcelain sink at their store, and I couldn't find one online to fit under counter. But even if I did, it was going to cost $1,100-$1,200 for one sink. Are you kidding me? Well, this stainless steel sink here is going to work fine. It's 2 different compartments, and you can get different sizes for different compartments. And it came with those two grids. It came with some covers for here, and it also came with the strainer baskets for here. Now, granted, one of these we're going to put a garbage disposal. We'll probably put the garbage disposal over here. But see, you could put garbage disposal either side. Some people put it on the small side, but we're going to put a little tray over here, because usually when I wash dishes, I just set them on a little tray here to dry, and I don't generally use the dishwasher, because it's just the 2 of us, and there's only so many dishes, you know, and then when they're dry, put them away. Nice and easy. So I usually set that up over here. So we're going to put the garbage disposal over on that side. So we're only going to need one of those strainers. But that whole thing, guess how much? $199 before tax, and it's a 16 gauge. You want to get on the stainless steel, they've got a 16 gauge and an 18 gauge. You want the 16 gauge. Don't get the 18 gauge, because then it pops. It's very thin metal, and the 16 gauge is a little bit thicker, and it also has, I was reading something in there, and it has something about noise reduction. So there might be some pads that are stuck on the outside or something. And I thought, you know, that's pretty good for a stainless steel sink. You know, $215 I think it was with tax. Okay, so if you're thinking about installing new countertops, think about the stainless steel sinks. I mean, it's going to work. I know how to work a stainless steel sink without scratching it to all kingdom come. You know, and especially with those little grid strainers on the bottom. and just set those down there. And yeah, granted, if you want to rinse the rest of your sink out, you're gonna have to lift that up and get your sponge in there and do that. And then just set that back down there. That's all you got to do. Okay, so anyways, that's gonna work out really good. I'll show you the countertops when they get installed. Don't worry. And I'll show you a few tips, some suggestions along the way and all that kind of stuff. I'm not done with this condo renovation episode series yet. Okay, so keep watching, but the next particular video I'm gonna do is showing how to cut in wall paint from the walls down to the top of the nicely, freshly painted baseboards. And see, I've already done it along this wall. Doesn't that look nice and straight? Look at that. I did that with that little cut-in paintbrush, and I ended up actually cutting around these door frames yesterday. Okay, look how straight that is. I did that with that little paintbrush. Okay, I didn't use any masking tape. I went around these doors. Here's another one. I went around this door. Nice. Look how straight that is. I mean, good grief. I'm not even a painter. I'm not even a professional painter, and I got that paint nice and straight. Okay? Look at that. And I did all that, and I had just a little bit of paint left to do some cut in. And I cut in the top bit of around the cabinets, up at the top where the scribe mold is, scribe trim. I did that. I even painted down in here. I didn't really have to paint this section here because, my word, the stove's going to fit in here. But I did it anyways, just because the other paint was 15 years old. I didn't want the cooties coming back from the old paint and all the grime and all that kind of stuff. So I went ahead and did my duty, cut it all in, cut this in, cut that in. Up in there, look how nice that is. Did that with that little paintbrush. Cut, and then I had a little bit of extra paint, so I cut in where the baseboard is. Yeah, I still have to put that plastic cover around that. I have to put the cover plate on that so I can push this refrigerator back in there. And then I had just a little bit of paint left, and I wanted to use it up before I got into my next gallon. And so I had enough to cut in that, to cut in, you know, in through there. And I had a little bit more, so I squeaked out enough for that. Did it with the little paintbrush. Nice and straight along there, up to there. Oh yeah, that's right. I even did this little section. Okay? And I've got to get into that other paint now. Because see, I haven't finished. I got to finish this today. And I'm going to make a quick video of showing how to use that paintbrush the proper way. Okay? You can start doing your own painting. I want you to start doing your own paintings and cutting in your baseboards, cutting in your door frames, your window stools and aprons around windows and around cabinets. See, looky here. I still have to cut in around this cabinet. I forgot to do that the other day. My word, I forgot. See? I was so worked on getting all the other stuff and cutting in around this door frame here, and then I almost forgot to finish the inside corners, because when I cut in the ceilings before, I went down, you know, yay far, and then I left the other, and I was like, okay, well, I hope I remember to do that. So I cut all that stuff in yesterday. It cracked me up. I was so intent and focused on that. I only wanted to have the baseboard left, and I cut this in, and somehow, look at that, I missed this section right here. I didn't even paint that. So hey, when you get done painting and stuff, you stand back and you start looking around, and you'll see other things you need to paint, you know. And so that's what I'm going to show you next. Keep watching my home renovation, condo renovations episode, whatever episode this is, 1 through who knows how many. But hey, I'm not done yet, so of course, you're in luck, because that means I'm going to make more videos of this series just for you. Class is now open. I'm going to show you how to paint the wall down to the top of the baseboard. I've already done this whole little section in here. It came out looking really good too. And I just used my paint tray with the throwaway paint inserts, and I've got it on a little piece of cardboard because that's metal and I don't want it scratching or marking up the existing floor. I'm not even going to use my craft paper. I'm just going to run out of there, and of course I've got my knee pad on, I got my knee brace on, I got my back support, lumbar support on, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just gonna grab this and pull it over here and get ready to start. Okay, and I'm gonna get you situated over here. I'm gonna try to keep you down kind of low here. Okay, now I've got the light from outside showing. I don't know how well this is going to show up on video, but I'll do another section of painting after this in the other room and in the bathroom. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing some work in the bathroom, some painting, doing the same thing in the bathroom. And I like using my flat little paint tray here because then I just get just a little bit on there. That's it. I don't need a whole lot. And I'm doing this corner, and when I usually paint the wall up next to the door casings, I'll paint down as far as I can, down this way, and then I just stops. And then when I do the baseboard, I'll come back and finish that. And see, to do that, this is an angled paintbrush, and I just kind of set it on here like that, and I'm getting this tip right in the corner, just at a 45-degree angle. And just wiggle it a little bit and put pressure on it and come up right along that edge. See? Wiggle it and get some on there, and if I need just a little bit more paint, I'm gonna put a little bit more on there. Okay, and do it again, because there's that spray texture on there. When I get out of that corner, now I can go flat like that. See, right in there, there's a little hole where the spray texture was. You just take that and kind of wiggle it and move it. Okay, now there, I got that section right up there, and now I'm just getting a little bit, and I'm gonna go right at that angle like that, 45-degree angle. See, I'm coming up this way, just with the tip. That's why you gotta have a good cut-in brush. Now I'm gonna come across this way a couple times, right at the top. Okay. Now I just clean off my paintbrush so I don't have an edge. Now I can get right down there. See that? Look at that. Now, once I'm out of that corner, I've got a little bit of extra paint on here. Now I'm going to put it on there and kind of wipe off a little bit of it before I go back down there, because I don't want to get too much paint on my paintbrush at any one time down at the bottom, because then I'm going to leave a line like that. So I just take a little bit off, and I still have plenty of paint on the brush to go right along there. And the paint that I just got off of there, I can blend in, because I gotta kind of taper that in to the wall anyways from where the paint roller stopped, right? Like that, wipe it off, and I'm right down there. No paint edge. Now I'm taking that paint, blending it in. Plus, it's also giving me a little bit more on my paintbrush to not create any edge of paint on there, so I can do that. Now I can go back this way, look. And that covers up any little spray texture bits that you might think were missing. That the paint was, you cut in and cut in and cut in, you think, my word, I can still see a couple areas, but you got to go the other way, and then that throws over those bumps, you see? And I'm just going to keep going. See, I don't have any craft paper here or anything on the floor. I'm just being careful. I don't have hardly any paint on this brush at all. Okay? And that's why I like going out of the paint tray. You don't have to have any more than that. You're not a professional painter, and you don't want to do this so fast that you're going to get it all over the place. Okay, now I've got it wiped off, and then I can kind of, I've got plenty of paint on there. Okay, now I can go down there. Do that. Grab a little bit more. And this time I'm not going to go down there just yet. I'm just blending in where the paint roller stopped before I go down there. Now I still got enough paint on there to go right down to the edge. And you'll get good at it after a while. The tricky part is if you get any shadow or something, or if the baseboard's been caulked, you got to kind of create your own line down there. See, now I got a lot on there. I'm just gonna blend in the bit above the base, okay, where the paint roller stopped. Now I've got that. I've got plenty on here still. Go right down there. Steady hands. Then you can do it. Okay? That's how I'm going to do this whole room. I'll show you how to do some inside corners in a little bit, but it's kind of how I did that one back over there. Okay? I've got some paint on here. Not a whole lot. I'm not in a big old race or anything. Might not even cut in with that one. I kind of fold that back and forth just a hair so I don't get so much that it's going to drip on the floor. Now I can get some of that off the edge before I go down. See? I'm picking up some right there, cleaning off the edge, going down there to make sure I don't get too much paint on there. You get too much paint on your paintbrush, and then you're going to leave a line, and then that paint is going to go over on top of your baseboard and all that. Boy. And see, I'm just doing that to kind of blend in everything on the wall where I stopped the paint roller from before. See how I'm putting it on there? And I'm getting it on the wall first right there. Now I don't have any on the edges of the paintbrush ends, the bristles. Now I can go right down there. See? Now I'm going to go back this way because I saw just a couple little spots. And if you see a hole, just take it there and wiggle it. And you're putting paint right in that there's a little pinhole there. And I got it right in there, just like that. I've got that little section of base done. That doesn't take very long. I mean, granted, however much baseboard you have, you're gonna, this room and stuff, I'll be in here a couple hours. See, I got to do this bathroom still. And I'll probably show you that because see, there's lots of inside corners in there. And I've got to do this space over here. And I like to go from left to right. If you've seen my videos before, I like to go from left to right when I'm cutting in all the baseboards. That's why I started on this wall, right there at the end of that baseboard from the left. I could have started over here on the right and gone all the way over that way to the right. It's a little bit harder because then you're having to squat and do things a little bit differently. But as it is, I'm good going left to right on there. That's funny. When I'm painting down next to baseboard, and when I'm painting the baseboard, I like to go from left to right. But when I'm painting walls, I like to go from right to left. It's just how I like to do it. I mean, is there a right and wrong way? Whichever way rocks your boat, whichever way makes it easier, feels easier for you. Okay? Try it both ways. Find out which way you like to do it. And then try to keep doing it the same way. Okay? And you'll get good at it. Okay? You're not gonna be perfect. You're not gonna be perfect, but you're gonna be good enough. And if you think you've gotten too much, I gotta load up and put a little bit more on my paintbrush. If you think you got too much, you can always go back and touch up your baseboard. Okay? It's funny. Sometimes I'll get a wall and I'll have quite a few little oopsies, but then I look on another wall and it looks like, wow, that looks way better than the other one. What gives? Well, that's because the top edge of your baseboard is not always crisp and clean. Depending, you see, I got overage right there, and I've got a wet sponge over here. I think I'm going to take that off. Sometimes you look at your baseboard and you might see, I got just the tip here, and I'm just going to wipe off a little bit here. I got too much on there. Right there, I'm not sure what happened, because the line's not crisp. Okay, I don't think I even have to cut that back in with the paintbrush. It was just a little on the base. I think that's good enough there. And then if you're going to use a sponge and a rag or a wet sponge, make sure you rinse it out each time, because you don't want that paint to dry in your sponge in the corners and stuff. But like I say, if you don't have a nice crisp edge on your baseboard, okay, that top edge, it's going to be hard to cut it in. You try it, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then sometimes the light is different. The lighting's different. You might get a shadow down there. Your eyes are squinting. Your eyes can get tired after a while. You see how I'm putting some paint up high where the paint roller's missing, where it stopped, and I'm just doing that a little bit. Now I'm going to go back and cut in down there. Cut it in. That looks good. There's just a couple little spots right there. Boom. Blend it in. See where I've left off. And slide me down. Now, painters, professional painter, he probably put more paint on his paintbrush and do a section from here down to here in one go. You know, he might use a 2.5-inch paintbrush. And this is only a 2-inch paintbrush. Okay. 2.5, obviously, you're going to have more paint. You can hold on it. But see, if you put it, you get some, load it up your paintbrush, get it on the wall, back and forth, because you gotta blend in from where your paint roller stopped anyways. There, I got a lot on there. Go back and forth. Now you're taking it all off of the edges. Now you can go back down low. Okay? That. Back and forth. Go down low. I see a little hole there. I'm going to go that way. It's still not covered. I'm going to go like that. It's a pinhole. And I'm going to wiggle my brush, boom, that pinhole is gone. Is anybody ever going to see that pinhole? Maybe not, but when you're painting, you see all kinds of stuff when you're down and dirty, right down next to it with your face, you know? Okay, take it up high, blend it in on the wall, do it some more, get it off the edge of your paintbrush. Now go back down there and cut it in. Back and forth, go down and cut it in. Back and forth, go down and cut it in. Go back the other way where the spray texture was and it wasn't covering, and boom, I got it. Okay? Repetition, that's all it is. You don't have to be a painter. You don't have to call a painter and have them charge you an arm and a leg because you don't know how to cut in. You know? And if you're going to try to, oh, I'll just use masking tape. I don't know how to cut in, but I'm just going to use masking tape. That looks too hard, Joe. Don't do it. First off, there's no way you're going to get a perfect line with masking tape. I don't care. And your line is only as straight as your masking tape. And then once you put your masking tape on, you might think, oh, I'll just slap the paint on there. You get too much of a paint rinse, you pull the masking tape off, and it peels your paint off the wall. Or you put your masking tape on, and you've got some spray texture behind the masking tape, and it doesn't want to fold down nice and tight. You know, there's many reasons why the masking tape is just not really going to be your best friend when it's ready to do cut-in. It's way better just to do it this way. Crack me up. I even have some professional painters. They painted our house, and he's like, I'm going to paint everything with the spray rig. I said, you are? You're not going to use a roller? No, I'm going to spray. And I said, well, you got to mask everything off. When you paint the walls, you have to mask off the base. When you are done with the walls and you paint the base, you got to put your masking tape nice and straight right along there, and then paint your baseboard. Well, I don't, and same thing, your lines at your ceiling, you know, and there's all kinds of places where the lines aren't perfect because your ceilings aren't going to be perfectly flat. There's going to be dips, there's going to be crowns, there's going to be all kinds of stuff on your inside corners. And if you don't put that masking tape on 100% perfect, your line is never going to be 100% perfect, is it? And I can pick that place apart and show you all kinds of imperfections with them putting masking tape up. They're professional painters. Now see, there's some holes there, so I'm going this way, covers it up, back and forth, go back, line it up. I mean, you'd be surprised. You may think, I can't do a straight line like that, Joe. Well, you get the right type of paintbrush with the angle on there. And this is just a little one, no long handle. And it kind of has a rubbery end, so I can kind of contour it in my hand. And it actually works. It works out pretty good. This is the first time on this job that I've decided to use this brush, because I usually use a 2.5 inch cut-in paintbrush, but it's getting a little old and tired, and it still works pretty good. But I thought, I was at the Home Depot and I saw this, and I thought, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a whirl, and it's working out really good. See how I have to keep going over it because there's spray texture on there. And it just takes a little bit of doing. But you just have some patience. If you want to get this thing done in a couple hours and you don't have any patience, this is not going to be for you. Newsflash. You probably already know that. See, now I gotta wiggle that, because there's some little indentations and they're gone. Kaboom. Gonzo. And now I've got to be careful when I go around the corner because this is bullnose trim on the sheetrock. It's not square, pointy outside corners. And so I've got to just take my time because if I go too fast, I'm going to hit the base. I'm going to hit the base as I'm going around the curve on it. Okay, there. This is that. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks pretty straight to me. Let's just show you. Get around this corner here. And I'm just gonna take my time. Hey, today it's all about me painting baseboard. I got no care in the world. My only job is to worry about this base. Okay? That's it. I got it there. Wiggle that. Haven't even gotten around the corner yet, but that's okay. And you don't have to put the whole thing on there. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of that off, and I'm only going to use just that little bit and curve it around. Curve it. Take it up here, slide it down. I'm just sliding the paintbrush down. See there? I just slid the paintbrush right down to where I wanted it. Get you over here now. See, I'm still working from what, left to right. Get most of the paint off there. Got a little bit of paint on there. We'll just do a little bit like that. Now I'm going to come down and see where I need to be. Right there. Boom. See there? I mean, how much straighter do you want it? My word. I couldn't get it any straighter than that with masking tape if I wanted. I'm done. See? Look at that. Okay. Now I have to do that. Well, I can't go from left to right there, can I? I'm going to have to do that a little bit differently. I'm going to have to go from right to left. I'm over in here. Hopefully you'll be able to kind of see this. So I kind of like this little piece of cardboard because before I was trying to pick it up and slide it. I don't need much paint on here, do I? You see, I've got an inside corner here. What am I going to do with an inside corner? First off, hardly any paint. I'm going to kind of try to come in here at an angle, 45-degree angle, like that, with the tip. See there? Now I can raise that up. Do it again. Wiggle it to get that paint on there. Come up. I hope my hat wasn't in the way when I did that. Here, let's try this like that. Get it in there, wiggle it, come up. Now see, there's a little bit that's missing right in there. I just put a little bit of paint on the tip. Now I can go down the other way. See? Clean that up right there, like that. I only want a little bit of paint on here. I don't want to have to spooge it all on here. Now see, I still have a little bit to go. I'm just going to get a little on there, wipe my tip off, put it in there, and curve it around there. See, there's a little bit of white showing there. I'm just going to kind of wiggle that, wiggle. There. Yeah, it takes a little bit of doing. Yep. Just there. That's good. Oh yeah. The things that make me excited. Okay, there you go. He's being a painter. If you've been with me, I've been painting the wall down to the top edge of the baseboard. I've already painted the baseboards before, and I wasn't too concerned if I got a little bit of that white paint of the baseboard onto the wall. See all the way along there? Look at that. See? I didn't really care about that because I'm going to come back and paint that. And that's what this video is about. Okay? You want to see me do that, stick around. I figured I'd start right here, and I usually like to go from left to right. And I've got my knee pad here. I've got my little cardboard that I just lift up. I just lift this up and slide it along my paint tray, so that my paint tray, because it's metal, I don't want it scratching up the nice pre-finished floor. And I used to do this with craft paper. That's craft paper right there. I call it resin paper. You can get it at the Home Depot. You can get it most any hardware store. It comes in a big old huge roll, and you can slide that along if you are afraid you're going to get any paint on the floor. But you know what? If I get a little bit of paint on the floor, I got a sponge here. I got water here. I'm all set up, and the way I do it, I'm not going to have much of a mess. In fact, I painted all of these baseboards, did the door frames, did everything. I think I got one little bit of paint down here because I ended up putting masking tape around all my door jambs at the bottom, and I put 2 layers, and it came out in one little area. I got a little bit of paint over that, and I just wiped it off with a sponge. No biggie. You know, of course, if it's carpet, you can't do that. I'd have to do it slightly a different way. But I'm going to do this from left to right, and I've got my little, this is just a 2-inch, and it's handheld, and this is rubbery, the end, and it's cut at an angle, and it's not very wide there, is it? That's how I can cut in nice straight corners. I'm just going to get a little bit of paint on there. That's why I like using my paint tray, so I can wipe off the excess of paint. And when I do a corner, an inside corner like this, I'll take the paintbrush, the short side up high and the long side down there to get that point, and I'm just going to come out at an angle, okay? To get that tip right in there. And I'm going to wiggle it around a little bit and then go up, keep pressure on it, go up. Got that little side right there, up. Okay, get a little bit of paint off of there. And you know, I got just a hair of too much paint on there. Did I do that for your benefit or mine? I'm just gonna, I got a sponge with the little short tips on the ends like that. And I'm gonna wipe that off the base right now because I don't really want to cut in the white paint again, you know? So, okay, there, got it. And then I'm gonna rinse this out right now because I don't want that paint to dry on the sponge on the tips because then I won't be able to use the tips again, will I? Okay? I don't know if I did that for your benefit. I might have. Okay, so do you see how I got that corner? I'm just concentrating on trying to get out of that corner, so I'm still going to put it at the angle, get my tip in there as close as I can, and now I'm going to just keep pressure on it and drag it. Just that same angle, just so I can get out of the corner. Now I can flatten that and do it this way. Okay. I don't like to try to get right in there that way because sometimes I can't. That's why I found if I start right there, I can go up that way and I can get right there and drag it to the right. Okay. Dip myself into the paint just a hair, and now I'm gonna get some of that paint on the wall from where the paint roller stopped. I don't want to use this paint right now that I have loaded up on this tip cut in yet until I wipe some of that off, and I'm going to wipe it off right there. Now I got plenty on there, but I got just enough so I don't have a line of extra paint on there. Now I can take that, wipe that back into my brush and try it again. And you're gonna find you're gonna have to go both directions. See, I had a couple little spots right there that I could go over it 5 times this direction and it may never cover it because I've got to go this way sometimes on spray texture walls. You know, you just have to you have to get in the habit of going both directions. So I've got to go forehand, sideways, backhand, however way I have to get that paint on the wall. Okay? I'm not doing a whole lot. You see anything hard about this? Is there a reason why you're paying thousands of dollars to have somebody else do your painting because you don't know how to cut in? You don't want to do your walls because you've never done your walls before with the paint roller and stuff. Hey, apparently you haven't been watching many of my videos because I show you all that kind of stuff. See, I've wiped off the edges. Now I can go back. I can just flex that and I get a nice line. I mean, how much straighter do you want it? I mean, that looks pretty darn straight. Okay. I mean, granted, you're not going to get it 100% perfect because the top edge of the baseboard might have spray texture on it, little ridges, and when they caulked it in, maybe the caulking isn't perfectly caulked in. Maybe you've got old layers of other paint on there, you know, all kinds of stuff. See, I'm going to get this up high and grab myself a little bit more. I'm just going to work on this high stuff right now. Now I still got enough paint on here to go down here. See how I wiped that? I wiped this off like that. Now go back. Cut it in. I'm doing that to get some more paint on my brush, the paint that I just put on the wall, and cut it in. Now I'm using eggshell paint, so it's got a little bit of a sheen to it. It's not flat paint. With flat paint, I'd basically be doing it the same, but you might think, I tried to cut in before, but you know, even that little bit of paint that I'm putting on here, if I went straight down and tried to cut this in, this paint would run all over the baseboard. So I get most of that off right there. Now I can go back and do that. Go like that, blend it in on my paintbrush. It's also covering up the nooks and crannies. There, now I can use that. I've got plenty of paint on the paintbrush. It's all blended in to the paintbrush. It's not just on the outside, see? Now I can wipe off a little bit of that. And I'm going to go right there. I've got plenty on there. I'm going to come in. I'm going to come in from here, slide it down to where I want it. Press on the paintbrush and you'll bend it and you'll make it nice straight. And this paintbrush is a 2-inch and it's an angled. See, now I have to go this way to get that little hole. Got it. Blend in the paint. I'm good. That's nice right there. That's why you want an angled paintbrush for cutting in. Don't use one of those square ones. Don't use a little cheap one that costs you $3 that's really fat. There's no way you're gonna cut in. There's no way you're gonna cut in baseboard or anything else with a cheap, fat paintbrush. Don't do it. Don't buy that little kit where you can buy the roller and all this stuff. It's like beginner stuff that's going to screw you up to make you think, see, I can't paint. They sell you those little those little kits with the pan, a paintbrush, a paint roller, and all that. That's garbage. Okay, get it on there. Go back. I got plenty on my paintbrush to cut in. I can't just do it once. I got to do it again. I got to get enough paint on there. I don't want it to, when it dries, have you think, oh man, what happened over there? Plus, I'm cutting in over the white paint, the semi-gloss white paint that's on the wall a little bit on that edge, right? I got to go over it a couple times, and I'm also having to blend it in from where the paint roller stopped. Okay, now I got just enough on my brush still. Cut that bad boy in. I see some holes on the spray texture. I'm going to go back that way. Get that. Okay. You don't have to use just your tip to try to cut in. Sometimes you can. You can just do that. But if you hold your brush at the angle of all the bristles, you're getting this front bristle that's throwing paint on there, that's throwing paint, all of it's throwing paint on there, so that, and then your tip is following that. But the trick is, you don't want to get so much paint on there that you're going to get it all over on the top of your baseboard. Okay? It's a happy medium, and as I was explaining to you, of course, I got a little bit on there. Of course, I got just a tiny on there. I'm using just the tip, just on top of the baseboard edge, and it's gone. Pretty much all of it. I can live with that. I can live with that. Okay? But you're gonna find some paint is gonna get on that edge. But hey, if you're this wall color, you've seen it's a gray. And when's the last time you walked along your baseboard and you looked at it with a fine-tooth comb to see if any wall paint was on the top edge, a little bit on there? When's the last time? You probably never have done it. When you're right here, you don't see anything. Even when you're up there, I mean, my line looks pretty darn good. Okay? And yes, I've got more to go, so stick around. I'll show you some more. Okay. I need to go just a little bit faster. I don't want to go too fast to where I start slopping it all over the place, you know? Get that paint on. Now cut it in. Cut it in. Get it cut in again. You're putting more paint on there. It's covering the nooks and crannies. That's covering the nooks and crannies that this way is not covering the nooks and crannies. Okay? Blend that in. Make sure it's all in. You don't want to go over it too fast, and then when it dries, find out you got all these holidays in your wall where you can see the old paint from before. Okay. Have you seen me drop any of this paint on the floor yet? Nope. You haven't. Look at that. There's one little spot right there covered. There's another little spot. I can do that. I can just wiggle it, get the little holes, the pinholes. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of tricky to get everything covered on spray texture walls, but hey, you'll get good at it. You will. See how many times I had to cut it in along that line? You're not just cutting in one time, no siree. Okay. Repetition, repetition, repetition. That's all it is. That's all it is I'm going on down this wall. It's just easier for me to do it from left to right because I'm at the right angle. I can see. I can do it the other direction too, and you have to in certain, no matter what, because you're always going to get yourself. If I keep going this way, there's only so far I can go before I hit an inside corner or the end of the wall, right? Then I have to go from right to left to finish it. It's just, and I can do it. I just don't want to go from right to left for the whole wall. This way is just easier. Because the paintbrush is kind of out of my way, my head's further away from the wall. Your eyes are going to get squinty, and you're going to get tired because you're trying your best. You're tense. You're trying your best not to get it on the baseboard because you know if you get on the baseboard, you might have thought, oh. If I get on the baseboard, I have to leave it, let it dry, and then cut in that top 1/16 to 1/8 inch of the baseboard without getting it on the wall, because then if I get it on the wall, I got to paint the wall again. Well, just take your sponge. Just take your sponge, wipe it along that top edge. If you get too much spooged on there, you're going to get just a hair. But if you get too much, you can take it off with the sponge, because the baseboard's already dry. Just wipe it off. Before that wall paint dries on your base, boom, you're done. Now you can try your cut in again. Like, oh, I got too much paint in one spot. Wipe it off, get it off the baseboard, and try it again. Okay? See, I'm not going very far in any one go. You know? Wiggle. There's one little hole right there. I'm going to wiggle it like that, and it's gone. Make sure where the transition from your roller stopped until your paintbrush goes, make sure you get that covered properly. Okay? And so when I don't have the camera on, I just turn my radio on, my Pandora. Classic rock stories is what I listen to. That's very interesting. You never want to get too much paint on your tip where you're cutting in at any one time. If you do, that paint's going to roll over on top of your base. It's just going to do it. But see, I've only done that a couple times. When I was explaining it to you, that's when I got it. That's funny. That was when I got it on there. And you just keep going, do the best you can. And like I said, the more painting you do, the better you're going to get. That's just how it works. You can be good at this. Yes, this is the first time I'm painting, but I am not a professional painter, okay? Just not, and I'm proud to say I'm not. I would hate to do this every day. I do just enough on a project to say, I'm glad that's over with. That's kind of like most things I do. I'm glad that's over with, but you know, I'm glad I knew how to do it. I mean, like sheetrock. I never used to know how to do a sheetrock repair. Then I moved, and because whenever I did anything that needed sheetrock repairing, I'd have to call somebody out to patch the sheetrock, tape top, skin, texture it, blend it in, all that. Then I moved to Maui, and I didn't have anybody, and I thought, hey, it's time for me to learn how to do it on my own. Fortunately, most of the walls on the condos where I was living, they were smooth wall. They weren't spray textured. So I didn't really have to mess around with spraying. I just got them smooth. And I taught myself how to do patches, how to skim walls, how to sand walls, how to blend in patches, tape it, top it, skim it, all that stuff. And you know, before that, I didn't know how to do it. Now I'm good at it. I can do all that stuff because I tried. I tried to do it, and I was determined to learn how to do it. And yes, the first patch wasn't perfect, and yes, you know, there's a learning curve there, but if you're willing to learn, you can do most anything. And that goes for anything, pretty much anything I post on my YouTube channel. Hey, I always say, I'm not going to show you anything I think you can't do. That means just about anything on there you see that I'm posting, you can do it too. Okay? I'm just wiping that to make sure I don't have too much paint on my edge. Now I've got plenty on there. Kaboom. Go back over it. And then sometimes, like I say, you have to go that way too. It just depends. Just depends. You'll see on spray texture, yes, it's just not going to cover all the way with one little bit. You may think, just cut in one line and be done with it. Well, you do whatever you want, but you're going to find you're not going to get a nice full coat on there unless you kind of blend it all in there. Okay? There. I'll show you a little bit more of this wall, and then I've got when I get ready to do it, an inside corner. I'll show you. Okay, my battery's getting kind of low. Lucky for me, I brought another one. Always trying to be ready for that. Always trying to be ready. Ooh, I just ate breakfast too, and I'm kind of feeling it because I'm down here on my hands and knees pretty much. That's why I've got my knee brace on, my back support, lumbar support. I call it back support. Some people say, hey Joe, that's not a back support, that's called a lumbar support. Okay, whatever. But I use that all the time. It really helps. See, I caulked this because it was kind of uneven, and now I kind of have to create my own line. Here's a hole right here, a pinhole. I'm just trying to push the paint in there and do that business, and it's gone. I'm just trying to create my own line here because the wall caved in right in there. And hey, Looks pretty good once you put a little caulking on there. Don't just take existing base and say, oh, I'll just paint it. You know, before I started painting the baseboard and stuff, I had marks on it. First I cleaned it, then I wiped it down, then I sanded it and etched it a little bit. Then I wiped that down. Then any big marks that couldn't come out when I was cleaning, I first went over it with my paint. Kind of as a first coat, I went all around all the baseboards and did that. Then I started painting the baseboards from the beginning. So once I got up to all the paint marks and stuff that I had, it was like I had 2 coats of paint on there. And you know, certain areas I had to caulk it, inside corners, outside corners, fix little marks on the MDF baseboard where there were gouges on it. Just use caulking and fix them. And you know, it is all in the prep. You don't prep it, you just paint the base. Who cares? Who looks at the base? Well, lots of people look at the base. You're gonna do that with your baseboard. What else are you gonna do that with? You're just gonna be slapdash on everything you do? Or is it just going to be the baseboard? It's probably going to be everything. You know, I figure if I'm going to do something, no matter what it is, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And then let the chips fall where they may at that point. You know, at least I can hold my head high and say, hey, I did the best I could. I learned from that, but I knew I should have cleaned the baseboard. I knew I should have wiped the baseboard down. And I should have cleaned it because there's all kinds of junk on there that the paint's not going to stick to. I knew I should have wiped it down. I knew I should have done this and that, but I didn't do any of it. And if I just painted it, I'm not going to feel too good at the end of the day. Or having somebody say, oh yeah, look at the baseboard. Joe did that. Doesn't it look good? Somebody says, oh, it looks like crap. He should have done this. He should have done that. I don't do stuff like that. You'll find on most of my videos, I'm always trying to be conscious of what I do and how I do it, and try to explain the best I can to show you, you know, how to do stuff. And that's just kind of what you get when you watch my videos. Newsflash. I just try to do the best I can, and then I can live with it. Or do the best you can, and then when you get done with something, look back, and then if you think you need to fix anything, you can. Go ahead and fix it. You know? Learn from those mistakes. These are old coaxial cables. They didn't even work, as a matter of fact. I'm gonna end up putting a blank plate over this hole. I'll just leave those in there. I'll talk about that another time. And I'm working myself right up into this corner, and I'm gonna keep going this way as best I can, sneaking myself right up in this corner as far as I can before I go from right to left. And you know what? I might not even end up having to go from right to left. We'll see. We'll see. Okay? Because this is a 45 degree. They got a little bump out here. I'm not sure what that's all about. But I'm thinking I might be able to go right around this corner. We'll see. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Almost. think I can do it. We're just gonna, oh, see right there, I can go up like that. I should have put some caulking in there. I caulked all the way around this thing, except right down there at the bottom. Get some of that off. Get that. Wipe some off. See, I'm just using that tip. Smaller, 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 smaller. Oh! Got it. See? Get that all blended in. And see, I can even run that paintbrush down that way and turn it sideways even. I mean, it's pretty amazing what you can do with one of these. Now I'm out of that corner. And I'm just pushing that down there, and away I go. So I did that, I blended that in first, when most of the paint was off. Now I come down here and cut in. Get some more paint. I'm just doing this top. I'm not getting down to the base just yet. Okay, I still got a little bit of paint left. Now I'm going to use that to cut in. I'm trying to go right down to the corner. Ooh! Get it. If you have enough paint on your tip, you can do that. You just don't want to get too much. Got it right there. Back. Boom! Kaboom! Look at that. Right around. Zippity doo dah day. Get you over here and you're just going to be a painting maestro after this. Some people say, hey, you remind me of Bob Ross. Remember the guy who does the painting portraits on TV, on Channel 6, on the PBS station? Cracks me up. I saw him on a commercial the other day. Yes, last night as a matter of fact. There's some holes right there. See, I got to go that way. I got most of them. There's a pinhole. I'm going to hold that up there, wiggle it, and it's gone. There's some more white right there. Wiggle it, gone. Another pinhole, straight up, wiggle, gone. Ah, just a hair on the base, hardly any. I think I'm going to leave it. I think I'm going to leave that. That's borderline. I kind of wiped it off with the sponge, but I think I'm going to leave that. I mean, we don't live in a perfect world, do we? Nothing is perfect. Nothing, these corners aren't perfectly true. And the spray texture is not perfect. And it looks like they've messed around with this baseboard before. I got too much on there. I'm going to take my sponge on that one. It's in the corner. Nobody's probably ever going to see it or know that it's there except me. That's because this right in here, these inside corners are pretty messed up in reality. I remember I had to caulk them, and nothing is perfect along this wall. Okay. But I got just off the top of the base. That's it. Now I gotta rinse out my sponge because I don't want that I don't want that paint to dry on those edges of the sponge, right? Or else I won't be able to use that sponge again. It's not often. It's not often that I have to use a sponge, but I have it, I'm going to use it, right? And I just used the sponge on the top of the base. I didn't have to get it up on the wall. You know? That's because it's all indented here. It's kind of hard to see. Look at that. It's kind of hard to see where the top of the baseboard starts and where the indentation of the crappy sheetrock ends. It's just not too great on this particular wall. So sometimes you kind of have to look at that and decide, okay, where's my line going to stop? And create your own line. Because your baseboard top edge is really funky. You're creating your own line. That's why I like to paint the baseboard first, by the way. Especially to get it all nice looking. And so when I cut in my line and make myself a line, it might not be exactly perfect from where the top edge of the baseboard is, depending if the baseboard's been caulked and all that. You know, you're deceiving, you're tricking the eye in some instances on, okay, what do I do here? How do I make it look right? Okay, I'm liking that. So I blend that in where the paint roller stopped and started. Get yourself enough on there. I try to keep my paint. See, there's sun here. I try to keep my paint in the shade. I don't want to get it on the sun. I've got a few more walls to do. And if I get this paint in the sun, and if I work with the paint too long, it's gonna start skinning up, even in the paint tray. Okay, because this is eggshell paint, it's not flat, it's got a sheen to it. Now, I've got another round corner here. I've got to be careful, and as I go, I don't want to hit the window frame, but the window frame, hey, I can wipe it off if I have to, right? If I have to. Just trying to not get too much paint on here. I'm just kind of using the tip, little. Not going to try to go too far around the curve, just a hair. Okay. Now I have to turn around. I've got to turn around and work this way. And usually I'll put the paint in a different location, but I'm gonna try to keep it right there because, like I said, I don't want it in the sun. Okay? I'm gonna leave it right over here like that. I'm gonna resituate because see, I've got this inside corner. I've got to come out like that. I've got to go up this edge a little bit, and then I have to come across. There's no way I can do it with the tip like that without getting paint everywhere, right? Okay. So, I've got to set it here. Look over my head there. There, got that. And now I'm coming across. Right there. Wiggle, because there's a little hole there. Now I'm out. I'm out of the corner. So now I want to reposition my paintbrush. Look and see where my line is. This one's been caulked, so I'm kind of having to be careful where the line is and where it's not. Wipe that off a little. Boom. Just contouring around that corner, just like that. Boom. Kaboom. And I'm done. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. And look at that. That took a little bit of time. Look on the time frame of this. And you know, I made another video of this little wall section here. I started from left to right. So here's one little project you can say. From there to there. There's one project. Here's another mini project, M-I-N-I. From here to there. Now I'm going to work on another project, and I've got to do this section over here. This whole little thing all the way over to here. So where do you suppose I'm going to start? That's right, to the far left. And I'm going to go from left, way over there, to right, and go all the way through here and stop over here. I've also got to remember to paint around this, okay? Get that, and I'll be able to do that using the same paintbrush, using the same technique up in that inside corner, right there, down along there, using the same technique down there, coming up, boom, like that, up at a 45, going around that, cleaning that up really nice. Okay, if I happen to get any paint on that side of that, if I just get barely any, I'm not even going to worry about it. Once it dries, and I can take a sharp putty knife and just scrape it off. Okay, a nice sharp one. Okay, and scrape it off. I did really good along the top edge of all of that scribe molding along there, but I got the paint on this a little bit in a couple different areas. I just used my flat chisel or my putty knife and lightly scraped it off. Looks pretty good. I think I did a wonderful job with that, and I just use this right here. Okay, and you too can do it. Save your money. Start learning how to paint on your own. Good luck. Now it's time for me to keep painting that base. Well, if you've been with me, I've already done a couple videos of showing you how to paint from the bottom of the wall down to the top of the baseboard. I'm going to make one more video. If you didn't watch the other ones, or even if you did and you thought I got lucky, I'm going to do this wall over here, and of course I'm going to start from left to right, and I'm going to work on this whole thing. I'm only going to make a quick video, probably from there over to in here somewhere, and I've got to get that inside corner up against that window frame. I've got to go around that little thing, the inside corner there. How on earth am I going to get all that without getting on top of the base? Well, stick around and I'll show you. Oh, that's funny. I got the paint tray right on a piece of cardboard and just sliding it all over. Okay, now I've got to get to that inside corner, and I'm starting from left to right. I'm going to go in there. I've got my 2-inch cut-in brush, and it's cut at an angle, tapered, and I'm going to start right like that and bend it right in there. I've got to finish this. I've been doing this for a while, and you do it too long, your paintbrush starts getting messed up. I'm using eggshell paint on the walls. And if you go too long, your paint starts building a film on it too. I'm not to that point just yet. Okay? But anyways, I'm going to get right down in there, down and dirty. You may not be seeing this. You might be seeing my head. There, I got that. Now, I'm going to be in the corner that, and now I can drag it over to the right. Once I get out of the corner, now I can reposition my brush, my paintbrush. Let's get you a little bit over here. Okay. And I've got a bullnose corner, so I just take my time going around it. Don't try to go too fast. If you want to be fast, painting is not for you, okay? It just takes time and a little bit of effort, okay? And let's see here. I need to, I'm not going to go any further there. I'm going to do this inside corner because this is so short. And I'm trying to remember, I think I'd stay off to the right here, like that, okay? Now, I've got the angle, so the short end is up high on the wall. And then I just bend this down and get right in the tip. Wiggle it a little bit, more pressure on it, and pull up. Because I'm getting that last little bit of the wall. Okay, wiggle, pull up. I've got that. Now, to finish that, I've got to reposition myself. Okay, so I'm gonna get over here, and this is just how I do it. It's easy for me, and now I'm gonna be over here because I'm right-handed. Just gonna get a little bit of paint, and I'm gonna come up instead of coming straight up because I've already got that. I'm gonna come out at a 45-degree angle. Okay. That, get that a little bit, and then I can pull it to the left. Got my hand at a funky angle, and once I get out of there I can reposition my paintbrush, get right back down in there, bend my brush exactly where it goes, and pull it along the base and roll it around that edge, just like that. Just like that, I've got that. Okay? Now I gotta reposition myself again. I'm trying to stay out of your way the best I can, so bear with me. I just happen to have a piece of cardboard that works out good, sliding that around. I don't want to take that metal tray and start sliding it on my brand new vinyl planking, right? Get a little bit on the tip of my brush, wipe off the excess. Now I can come out at an angle. Same thing. Like that. And my brush is almost exactly right. Now I'm going to drag it just like that to the right. Oh, that one there looks like I could have. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think I can leave it. There's one little spot where I could have hit that just a hair better. But hey, it all is going to blend in with everything. Now that I'm out of that corner, I don't have to hold my brush at that funky angle. I wipe off a little bit of that. Now I can start right like that. I'm bending the brush out kind of at an angle, you can see. Now I'm going back and covering up the other spray texture bumps. Sometimes they don't cover just going one direction. Sometimes you have to go both directions. Okay? I got right out of that corner, didn't I? And newsflash, I am not a painter. Okay? I know how to do it. I'm not a professional painter. I'm just telling you that because I don't want you to think, oh yeah, Joe knows how to do it because he's a professional at it. No. I'm just an average Joe. That's what I tell people. You ever heard me say that? I'm just an average Joe. If I can do it, you can do it. That's just how it is. See, I take off the excess of paint off of the tip of my brush, so then I go back and create my line. Boom. Blend in. Okay. Move it along. Just a little. See, I'm not going very far at any one time, am I? The excess there, wipe it off my brush. Come down, cut it in. Cut it in. Wipe on there. Blend in that. That's looking good there. And I'm gonna go some more. Do you see anything hard about this? Am I just, I don't know. I'm just average. I don't think I'm any better than anyone else. And that goes for painting too. But it's just, if you know how to do it, and the right way to hold the brush, and the different ways to blend it in, and holding the brush, and making sure you've got as straight of a line as you can. That's all that you have to do. I'm not putting much paint on there at any one time. I don't have any craft paper on the floor. I don't have any floor protection. I'm just going for it. I haven't spilled any paint on the floor yet. I've made a couple videos now, 3, 4, on different things over this floor. Okay? And if you're careful, you can do it. If you don't feel like you're careful, you can put some masking tape down, you can put craft paper down, you know, whatever. See, I went a little far, but I can stretch and get it from right where I'm at. In fact, sometimes it's good to stretch your back out if you're doing this for a while. Stretch it out a little bit. I'm stretching it right now as I'm reaching. Sometimes you get it too close and your eyes might get buggy and you might think, oh, if I'm away from it a little bit further, I feel like I can do it better. See, I had too much paint on that edge. I'm just going to take it off before I create my line. Kaboom. Create my line. Yeah. Go this way to get the bumps. Blend it in. And I'm ready to go some more. Get the paint on there where the transition is between the paint roller where I ended it. Now I've got just enough on there to cut it in without getting too much paint on my tip of my bristles to spooge out over the base. See? Just like that. You might say, Joe, you made it look too easy. It's not that easy. Well, let me tell you, it is that easy. Come on. You just practice a little bit. The main thing is you don't get too many straggle pieces off your paintbrush. If you see any, before you get your paintbrush wet, you want to trim those off. And I got carpet scissors and I trim them off and stuff. And I've got a couple little pieces here now, but that's because I've been doing this for a while now, and I'm still okay. And I think the brush is still going to be fine for me to cut in for the rest of my cut in that I need to do. But if you needed to cut in all day long, you're probably going to have to clean your brush maybe after 3 or 4 hours. Go for lunch, clean your brush, let it dry, and then start going some more. This is how I've been doing the whole room. This is how I did the upstairs. Same way. Just like this. Before the carpet was installed. Okay. I had to cut it all in. I didn't do it any differently. Usually when I show something on video, it's because that's just how I'm going to do it the rest of the time. I don't say, oh, I'm going to do it a different way after that. I'm not going to do it like that. That takes too long. No, I'm just showing you the things that I do. That you can do. Yeah, your eyes get kind of, you got to squint them, you gotta really tense. My body's all tensed up a little bit because I really don't want to get it on the base, you know. But and then after a while, you're just gonna get tired. And then do as much as you can in one day, and then try it again the next day. You know. Okay. I'm working myself right up into this corner. Right up into that corner there. Let's see here. Am I going to show you how I get out of the corner? I'll show you getting into the corner and how I get out of the corner, and that'll be it. Okay. I'm just going to keep going the same direction as long as I can. Because it's easier for me to cut in this direction, like this technique, this style, than it is the other way. I can do it the other way. And sometimes if I get tired of this way, maybe I'll do a whole wall the other way. Say, I'll just do it from right to left. See, I can still go further. I'm going to get up as close as I can. Clean off my edge. Go some more. I got some straggler edges on my paintbrush there. That helped. That helped get them back to where I wanted them. Okay. Okay. I could go just a hair further, but it's really not going to help me much because I can get out of the corner. Okay, that's all. I'm just going to go to there. Okay. Now I got to get that. So I first do the inside corner straight up. Remember how I did? Like that. Wiggle and go up. I'm getting the paint up there, and I'm going to do it at a 45 here and go over to the right. Okay. Now I'm all ready for this next wall, aren't I? On this wall over here, I'm going to do it the same. I'm going to paint out the same technique that I've just been showing you. But now I've got to do that. I don't just sit here this way because I can't see the top of the base. Right? And so I reposition myself. I got to reposition myself. Okay? So, yeah, we're still on. Okay, so now I'm going to get you right here. Get this repositioned. Now I've got to come up this way at a 45. All right. See how I'm positioned now, all ready to go from right to left. But I got to get in that corner first. Get anything above me. Now I don't have enough paint on there, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to wipe most of it off. I'm going to get right in there, push it push it in there, stretch it. If you don't have enough, then you can slide it closer to the base. Don't get too close to the base the first time because you're gonna get it all over the base. Once you got it exactly right, I got it perfect. Now I'm gonna slide it to the left and I'm out. I'm out of that corner. Wiggle, slide it. I'm out of that corner, okay? Reposition my brush. Now I have to look over it and I can see exactly where I need to be. Okay. You may not see that too much because my head's probably in the way, but you get the point, right? I'm out of that corner. I got just a little more. Now I can hold my hand up like that, so I can see that. Oh man, that's nice. I see exactly where I need to go. But see how I'd have to do this whole wall if I go from right to left. I'm going to be positioned kind of like this. I don't like doing that too long before I get tired. That's why I like to work from left to right. Okay? Well, there you go. I hope that's helped you decide, hey, maybe I can do it after all. Thanks, VideoJoe. Now this is how I leave my cut-in paintbrush at the end. I fold it over with the paper towel. I'm going to show you how to do that. This one's all wet now. I just take a little piece of paper towel, fold it in half, flip that over like that. I've got this is still pretty wet. I mean, it's slightly wet still, but see how when you get done using it, you get some ends coming out, and you want to try to keep this all together the best you can. I'll trim those afterwards, you know, next time. But for right now, I'm just going to take it, bring it over a little bit. And fold it, just fold it over. Keep it tight, and then you'll be able to feel what the angle is. The angle to the dangle. Right there. Okay. Tap on that. See, it's pretty much getting dry, but when it's slightly wet, it'll contour this, because this one's wet, and I wanted to take it off and show you. See, it's wet a little bit. And then I just leave it like that and let it dry. See, here's my other one, my 2.5 inch. Same thing. I'm just gonna let that dry like that. This one's already dry. Okay? And that's how I leave those. Then when I get ready to use them, I'll pull it out. This one's already dry. And you see all the stragglers up in here. You may think, what's the big deal? When you get the paint on there, some of those will push down. Yes, some will, but not all of them. And so I'll spend some time with my carpet scissors, catch it, push it all the way down, and trim it. You know, and I'll spend some time on that because I don't like stragglers like that. That's not good when you're trying to cut something in, especially when those stragglers get a little bit of paint on there. It throws your eye off. Some of that paint on those stragglers get on every other things that you don't want it on, and you think, son of a gun, Joe's right. I should trim those off. And get some carpet scissors. These things work so good. I use these for all kinds of things. I cut off tags on washcloths, towels, bath towels, pillows, you know, that you're going to put on the couch, tags, any kind of tags, carpet, carpet stragglers, you know, next to door frames and transitions between carpet and tile floors and stuff. Anytime you see something, trim it off. But before I trim it off, I'll see if it's something that I can crazy glue down first, you know, because if you have Berber carpet, and if you cut off a piece, now you've got a slight little hole there that you can't cover anymore. So lots of times before I trim anything, I'll look and put a little bit of crazy glue gel in there, take a screwdriver, take the piece, fold it back down in there, press it in there with my screwdriver tip, and then before I pull the tip out, I'll count maybe to 50, and then I'll twist the screwdriver to get it loose off of the glue and then pull it out. If you try to pull it straight out, sometimes the tip of your screwdriver's got glue on it and you pull the thing right back out, you know. But yes, I love these things. They work for all kinds of things, okay? Get some of those at the store. And, you know, I thought I was done cutting in baseboards. I got everything cut in down here in the baseboards. I got this cut in up in here and up against the cabinet. Didn't that look good? I did that all with that little cut-in paintbrush. Got everything, except there's one room that I didn't do. And I didn't do this room for a reason, because these walls in here, I decided to go with semi-gloss paint, and I got a semi-gloss ceiling in here. Before you start painting, you want to talk it over with whoever else you're living with, your significant other, your partner, whoever, and think, okay, in which rooms do we want flat ceiling paint for the ceilings? Which rooms do we want semi-gloss? Now, we went semi-gloss in this room on this ceiling because this is where our cat, we're gonna have a cat, and we've got a little cat door right here. We're gonna put our potty box in here. And in case we wanna wipe the walls down and stuff like that, we can do that. So I put semi-gloss on the ceiling, and I decided to put semi-gloss on these walls instead of eggshell. I got it 1 gallon of semi-gloss paint because the bathrooms upstairs, where the showers are, where the bathtubs are, I'm gonna semi-gloss on walls on that. But everywhere else, I did eggshell. And I even did eggshell in this bathroom down here. That's because it's just a half bath. There's only gonna be a toilet and a sink here, pedestal sink here. Okay, and so I decided, hey, I'm just going to put eggshell on these walls because there's not going to be any real steam in this room. So, you know, I had to write all this stuff down because even after we talked about it, we changed some of the things, and so then I have to go back to my tablet and read, okay, which walls go which, and if you do something like that, you got to make sure that you know what you're doing. You don't want to just take your eggshell paint and start cutting in all your walls up next to your ceiling, down next to your baseboards, on the inside of your walls, and then think, oh shoot, I just messed up because that's semi-gloss paint, not eggshell paint. And you know, so just think about it before you do it. So I want to use my 2-inch. I want to use my 2-inch on that. I decided, I don't really use this. I'm not really going to use this for cut-in that much more anymore. I used to use this for cut-in for everything. But I'm getting better control with this 2-inch, and I've done the entire condo. The ceilings, cutting in the ceilings, cutting in the door, you know, installing the door, painting the door frames, cutting in the trim, the door casings, the baseboard, painting the baseboard, painting the door jambs and the trim, all with this 2-inch paintbrush. So I'm going to finish off this job painting that room with the 2-inch paintbrush, but I have to let this dry. So if there's any sun in here, look at this. Here's a little bit of sun right here. Yes, the sun's going to move eventually, and I could take this and put it out on the deck or something. This will help dry it that much quicker, or I could put it out in the sun, out in there, or whatever. And you know, next time I get ready to do a paint job, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy another one of these. That way I got 2 of them. That way, when I get done with one, and if I'm dipping into another paint bucket with a different color, then I've got another paintbrush and I don't have to wait for it to dry. Okay, because I've got another one. And the other thing, when I cut in everything and I've got it and I'm using it out of the paint tray and stuff, there's only so many hours you can do that, especially with eggshell. All the walls are eggshell. All the baseboards are semi-gloss. When you're using semi-gloss paint or eggshell, and when you're cutting in or painting the baseboards or whatever, you can only use that paint for so long before it starts skinning, before the top layer starts skinning up and it starts getting thick. And then it starts getting thick on your paintbrush and it starts building up your paintbrush, and then you get some feelers with different, with the paint on there, and it's not, you're not being able to cut in properly. Then you've got to put your paint away, mix it up again. See, this started skinning up. I put that back in there. You could mix it up again, pour it back in there, and if you have a second paintbrush, you can clean that paintbrush out, let it dry, and use your other paintbrush, and away you go. You can keep going. See? And when these things get full, you'll see that it's hard to get all the paint out of your bristles. Now, but I did a really good job. How did I do that? I'm just going to go up here. Hope you're still watching this. These are tips for you to be a better painter, for you to know how to do things better, okay? So just bear with me here. We're going into the bathroom where I've been washing out the paintbrushes. I don't have a light in here. I took that out because I thought we were going to paint these ceilings and these walls before we moved in, but I can do this after we move in. Okay, these ceilings I'm going to end up painting white semi-gloss paint, and then I'm going to paint the walls with not the eggshell gray, but the semi-gloss gray, because there's steam in here for the bathtub, for the shower and all that. Okay, so what do I use here? I'm gonna get these out into the light. Okay. I just use my cleaning brushes, my steel cleaning brushes, okay? That's all I'm using, not bristle brushes. This is the steel, and you see, it's wired. And I just take that and clean the paint out and get most of the paint out. It works really good to get all that stubborn paint out of there, because if you don't do that, eventually you're gonna use your paintbrush 3 or 4 times. You're gonna think, I got to throw this away. This paintbrush is building up too much paint in there and I don't know how to clean it out. You know, they actually have a comb with feelers on it there that you can get at a paint store and put it in there and clean it that way. And then they also have something where on the end of your handle, if you have a long handle paintbrush, you stick it on there and it sticks on, and you push it, and this thing spins your paintbrush and gets most of the water out and gets it drier so you can use it quicker. That thing works pretty good. You kind of push on it and it zips, kind of like that. I don't have one of those. I just let it dry naturally. But you know, because you're starting to do all these things on your own, now you've got some money that instead of paying somebody else every single time you paint, you're just going to pay yourself. Save that money, and you can start buying and adding tools to your arsenal. Okay, well, that's it for now. So man, I've got to wait for this paintbrush to get dry, and look, it's not even in the sun anymore. The sun's already moved. I think I'm going to stick that out on the deck for a while in the corner and try to get this dry as I can. You don't really want to use too wet of a paintbrush before dipping it into paint again, you know. So I don't know where the sun's gonna stay the longest. Maybe right in there. Ah, look at that. Oh, here comes some geese, Canadian geese. Here they go. Oh, beauty. That's why we got this condo right here by the river. Okay, so while that's drying, hey, always think about what you can do. You know, hey, what can I do? I don't really want to use this for cut-in, so I'm not going to use that. Okay, but there's other things I can do. I've got on the flat ceiling, there's some areas up here that can be repainted. I've caulked a line here where there was a tight crack next to the 45-degree corner bead that they put up there. There's a mark up there on the ceiling, way up there, that I could get with that 2.5-inch paintbrush. I could do that with the 2.5-inch paintbrush, right? I could do that. And then there's some other areas on the white. They took a king mattress up here, and when you've got something like this, especially with a ceiling in there, they should have built that up a little bit higher. My word, it took 3 of us to push that mattress, California King mattress pad up there, and they actually had to bend the bottom of it just a little bit, or they wouldn't be able to get it up there. So they scratched the ceiling up there. See where there's some marks there, and then they gouged it up in here a couple different places. Well, I already caulked that, and I've already touched that up with paint. But see, I can go around with my 2.5-inch paintbrush on the white ceilings, or I could take a throwaway paintbrush. A 2-inch paintbrush will work. Or my 3-inch, not this one, but I got a 3-inch throwaway paintbrush that I could use. Not this one, but another one. I use this just to clean up paint trays and buckets and stuff like that, and a broom and stuff. I don't throw them away, I just save them. And so I could use one of those if I wanted to. I could do, what else could I do? There's always something else you can do while you're waiting for something. I could put cover plates on. I can adjust light switches. There's different light switches. When I took the cover plates off, some of these are not lined up right. See, this one here is kind of tilted out this way, out like that. This one's straight. This one's kind of slightly off to the right, and this one's tilted. I can turn the power off and then undo the screws, bend that to the left. I like to get it so when the cover plate's on there, everything's nice and straight. You know, I can check those, and I can do that while the paintbrush is drying. There's just different things I can do, and you know, we're going to be moving in here in a short while. Another thing I need to do is I need to Mommy, she wants it to be so she can get her car in here in a couple of days. Yeah. I wanted to share something really quick with you. My finger is so sore, it feels like there's a sliver in it right in here, but there's not. It's just that the skin is split just a little bit, not very much, but it's painful. And I've been working, if you've been watching my videos, I've been working, painting in a condo and all kinds of stuff, washing my hands, rinsing paintbrushes out and working with paint and stuff. My hands, my thumb is all chapped, and it started splitting the other day right there. Actually, I had one over here that split, and this one's fine now. You know why? Because I've been repairing my fingers, and I used to use this stuff here, Suffolk Sage Hardworking Hands. You can use this stuff from O'Keeffe's Hardworking Hand stuff, and it's just like greasy stuff, almost like Vaseline. But and then try to put it on there, but it doesn't fix the cracks. And I thought, wait a minute, I got something in the garage that'll fix that. Kaboom. Ha. Look at this Gorilla Super Glue Gel. I use the Super Glue Gel rather than just the Super Glue, but you could use either one. And I thought, how silly of me. I should have been using this all along, and Mommy Momi, every once in a while, her hands will start, her fingers will start splitting right in there and on her fingers and up in here. That's painful too. You get it wet and it starts stinging. Well, I'm just going to put some of this on there. And I've got this magazine out because I don't want it to drip on a countertop. Even if you put a paper towel down or a napkin or something like that, don't do that. It bleeds through that and will get on the counter. Why do I know that? Because it's happened to me, that's why. Okay. Come on. There. Just that little bit. And, you know, like I said, I had that over there and this one all healed up. Now I'm just going to leave that on there just like that. Just like that. And it's going to dry. It's going to be fine. You know, surgeons sometimes use super glue. And you know, I was reading an article one time, scuba divers, if they cut themselves under the water, and if you have crazy glue with you, you can put a cut together, put some crazy glue on it underwater. Really? That's what I heard. And I like to store this flat, like that. I don't like to leave it up like that. And lots of times I might even have it up at an angle. That way your tip doesn't dry out. When your tip dries out, it's hard to get the crazy glue out. Right in there, because you want a small little tip. I used to cut that open with my 10 snips or my electrical cutters, and then the hole would get a little bit bigger. But what I do now, and then I used to get a paper clip and poke in there, or a little pin and do that. But then if this gets filled up, and if it's hard to do it that way, you can take just a thin, small little tiny drill bit and drill it, and then you've got your hole again. And I try to get it in the larger containers like this. That way it doesn't have a tendency to dry out as much. If you get those little ones, it's almost like use it one and done, because those small little containers of crazy glue, once you open it, forget about it. You're not going to be using that again anytime soon, like 2 months from now. The tip dries up and it's hard to get it out. So I just get the bigger one. Super glue gel, baby. That's how you're going to fix these cracks. All right, time to go to work and do some more painting. Just a few minutes later, it feels way better already. Of course, it's going to harden up and stuff, and I'm just going to leave that alone. Don't get it wet for, 5-10 minutes or so, and just leave it on there and do its thing. It's working, and you'll feel much better. Well, you know what today is? Today is the day I've sold this oak planking. I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and yes, I finally got somebody to agree to purchase it, and they're picking it up this morning. And hey, I'll make a few bucks, probably not as much as I'm making 65 bucks. All right, I posted it for 125, then I lowered it down to 95, and then finally I thought, this is ridiculous. 65 bucks I'm lowering it down to. It doesn't even pay for my time to save it, and to pull it up carefully, to try to save it, to stack it, to store it, to post it, to meet somebody over here and load it up and all that kind of stuff. But hey, it's going to be recycled and it's not going to be thrown away. Okay, so does Facebook Marketplace work? Yes, it does. And a couple other things I had sold too. The dishwasher I pulled out, got that sold. The stove, I pulled that out, got that sold. And I'm also selling this. I've already got a deposit on this. We're going to use it for a couple months. Then the lady's going to come over here and pick it up after the new one gets here. And I still have the microwave for sale, but we need to use that for a couple months before the new one comes, before the new countertops come, before the new appliances come. And I've got that posted on there. Hey, if somebody wants to give me a deposit on it, fine. If they don't, I'll post it again after we remove it when we install the new one. And I got a washer and dryer on there for sale too. And hey, I'm gonna post some other stuff on there too. So I'm getting some good results from Facebook Marketplace. The only thing I've had 3 different commitments on this toilet, and they all fell through. So I still got the lonely toilet for sale, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I think I got that posted for like 65 bucks. I may have to lower that, but I'll get that sold. I'll get it sold. Hey, the one thing I forgot to mention on your carpet remnants, we just had the condo installed with new carpet. Look at all this extra carpet we got. I got some other pieces, and I can cut these for mats, floor mats, and stuff like that. And also, don't forget, you want to save some in case you have an accident on the carpet, you get a spill, you get a tear, you get anything like that. Save some of your carpet, you know, because you might be glad you did. All right, back to work I go. Oh, that's funny too. I haven't posted it yet, but I'm gonna even post this paint right here. This is brand new, never been opened. This, we used a couple gallons of that and it was the wrong color. We really didn't like it. So there's probably 3 gallons in there. I'm gonna post that. And who knows, I might get that sold too. I'd rather do that than throw it away. There's no way to really throw that away. You don't want to throw that away in a dumpster with the liquid and stuff. You could get some kitty litter, mix some kitty litter in with that stuff, let it dry, open the lids for a month and let all this stuff dry and cake up. Or you can buy some stuff. You can actually buy some stuff at local paint stores. I know Sherwin-Williams has some of this stuff, and I don't know if Kelly Moore does, and I don't even know if the Home Depot or Lowe's does, but you pour it in there. It's kind of like kitty litter, and you mix it up in there, and then it dries, and it helps soak up all of the paint in these little granules, and then you can throw it away. Okay, be nice to the environment. Look at that. All the oak floor planking is gone. Oh, she was very happy about it too. And remember, I had some paint here. I was gonna sell that on Facebook Marketplace. I didn't even post it yet. And she said she was remodeling her house, and I talked her into buying that paint. I had over $100 worth of paint that's a couple weeks old. And sold it to her for 15 bucks. You know, I could have sold it probably for a little bit more, but at least I got rid of it. She's happy, I'm happy, and away you go. Well, time to get busy. Facebook Marketplace, baby. You know, start selling. Think about starting to sell all your stuff that you don't need around the house anymore. Take pictures of it, post it on Facebook Marketplace. It's easy and it will make you some money.